I'm reminded of the line in The Wizard of Oz, lions and tigers and bears, oh my. Because apparently you have single-handedly left the world in a mess. It's about the previous administration that left a mess and that cost lives because of decisions made or not made with respect to relations across the board. So I want to ask a series of questions to try to get my mind around the history behind things. So, for example, the chairman mentioned Iran's about to become a nuclear power. Oh my, how could that happen? Well, Mr. Secretary, was there an agreement, I don't know, anywhere, that actually pushed back the nuclear development in Iran and in fact was working in all respects in terms of metrics?
There was. It was called the JCPOA, and it put Iran's nuclear program in a box, as verified not only by international inspectors, but by our own intelligence community.
Ah, I remember that now. And I seem to recall my friends in the SIL opposed it. And then what happened to that agreement that was working?
The previous administration decided to leave the agreement.
I'm sorry, Mr. Secretary, couldn't hear that.
Yes, the previous administration decided to leave the agreement.
The Trump administration?
That's correct.
Ah, okay. My. Afghanistan. I mean, terrible thing that happened in August of 2021, but did it have any antecedent? For example, was there anybody who said, we're going to negotiate in Doha with the Taliban and we're going to actually exclude the government of Afghanistan we're allegedly supporting? Did that happen?
The previous administration negotiated an agreement with the Taliban that called for the withdrawal of all American forces from Afghanistan by May 31st of 2021, released 5,000 Taliban prisoners.
And those terrorists that Mr. Wilson was concerned about.
In addition, drew down our own forces over time to
Oh,
2,500 when the present administration took office.
And that was also, was that the Biden administration?
As I said, that was the previous administration.
Well, I'm sorry, did that have a name?
The Trump administration.
Trump administration, thank you, okay. Was there a president of the United States who said that he believed the word of, a sociopath Vladimir Putin over his own intelligence community with respect to Russian interference in American elections? Did that happen?
I recall press accounts to that effect, yes.
And did that president have a name?
I believe that was President Trump.
Was there a president who denied javelins, critical part of the arsenal for Ukraine to defend itself before the war that began last February and March, over a political issue, trying to get dirt on a political opponent? Did that happen?
Based on press accounts and testimony before Congress, I believe that it did, yes.
And who was that?
That was the previous president, President Trump.
President Trump. Was there a president who disparaged NATO and said it was obsolete and we probably don't really need it anymore? Any president ever say that in the history of, since the founding 73 years ago of NATO?
Based on public statements that I've read, yes, I believe that President Trump said that.
And from your point of view as the secretary, current secretary, is NATO playing any kind of non-obsolete role in the current war in Europe?
NATO is playing an absolutely essential, vital role in ensuring the security of Europe and deterring further aggression by Russia against Europe.
Most of us kind of find, we're worried about the climate. Was there any kind of, I don't know, international agreement on the climate accord that had every nation on Earth as a member except for two?
That would be the Paris Agreement.
And what happened to that?
The United States at one point withdrew from the Paris Agreement. President Biden re-engaged us in Paris.
And again, Mr. Blinken, did that president who withdrew from the Paris Climate Accord that had all countries on Earth but two, what was the name of that president who withdrew us from that?
Again, in this case, the Trump administration withdrew from that agreement.
Well, I just say we might all have cause to say lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, but it ain't about the Biden policies. It's about the previous administration that left a mess and that cost lives because of decisions made or not made with respect to relations across the board. I yield back.
Gentleman yields. We appreciate that performance. It was quite entertaining. Chair now recognizes.
I would just say to the chairman with respect, I did not mean for it to be entertaining.
Yeah, right.
I meant for it to be
Chair recognizes Mr. Perry.
a statement of history.
It was factual.